In this tutorial, we're going to look at how to create buttons for our navigation section that will link to other pages when we create them. The first thing we're going to do is style the buttons using CSS formatting, and we're going to follow these instructions here to make better looking buttons than we currently have. So I've returned to my formatted template page, which has got a header, a side, and articles and footer formatted, but did not have formatted buttons. These buttons, if I click into this cell here, you can see it's in a TD cell, but that TD is nested inside the NavBar. So we've got NavBar here, the whole load of them, contains the table that's got the TDs in it. So what I'm going to do now is try to make a new style. The new style is in the existing style sheet for shopstyle.css, and I'm going to apply that to the navbar. Then I'm going to press space and put in TD. So this means it will only apply to TDs that are inside the navigation section. First thing I'm going to do is just make sure I've got the right things chosen. So I'm going to go to background color, and I'm going to make them something that stands out a little bit. So more colors, maybe a kind of deep brown like that. Click on OK and click on apply. And you can see it has actually picked up these buttons here. I'm also going to give them a border. So I'm going to give them maybe a ridge, and that ridge is going to be thick, and I'm going to create the ridge with maybe an even darker plum color there. And if I apply that, you'll see I've got something that are looking a bit more like buttons. I would definitely want to look at the block and change the text alignment to center so that the buttons are in the middle of each button. So if I click on OK, we'll have a look at that. We've got these buttons here. Now, a mistake that a lot of students make at this point is they try to even up these buttons. They see that cats is a bit small, dogs a bit small, but rabbits and hamsters are too big. So they start to drag these around. And I'll show you what happens. If I drag between these and try to stretch, they're all trying to adjust each other. But more to the point, I've now got a style applied here. The problem is when I look at that on a phone, it's going to look really weird because it's going to be 209 pixels regardless of how big these are. So don't do that. Don't drag between these to try and even them up. Let the browser sort that out for itself. And you'll see, if I actually look at this in a browser, so if I do save all to the several buttons there, it wants to save that embedded file, so I'm going to say OK. And if I now go to File, Preview in Browser, you'll see that I think it's Latin because of the lorem ipsum text here, but all of these buttons have evened themselves out a bit better to match the browser. And if I snap that off, you'll see that these buttons are adapting to how wide the browser screen is, and the same thing will happen on a phone, for example. But if I dragged them around, then that would not be happening. Okay, they're not the best of buttons at the moment, and certainly in the future we're going to make much better looking styles for things, but for the moment I could make them look a little bit better. If I right click on that and modify style, so remember, don't add a new style, always change the one that's already there. One of the things that we do have in modern CSS is a border radius. And I could make all of these something like 20% and apply that. Now when I click OK, again you'll see nothing seems to have changed here. And that's because Expressions is an old piece of software. It can't show you all the modern browser features. But again, if I go to Save All, and then File, and Preview in Browser, then you can see that these buttons have been rounded when I look at them in an actual browser rather than in Expressions. So this is my template. I've got these buttons looking okay now. What I actually want to do is turn them into actual buttons. So I'm going to highlight the word Home, and I'm going to go to Insert Hyperlink. A hyperlink is a clickable link in a web page that takes you somewhere else. Now, the home page should always take us to a page called index.html. So that is the default page when you open a website, index.html. So home is the text to display, but the address is going to be index. And I'm going to click on OK there. And you'll notice that as well as having an ahref tag, which is an anchor with a link to index page, the link is now gone blue and underlined to show us that that's a clickable piece of text. I'm going to go to the cats. I'm going to highlight the word cats. I'm going to insert a hyperlink, and I'm going to make that go to cats, so I can spell it right, cats.html. Click OK, and that now has its own reference. Now, there are other ways of putting hyperlinks in. So for dogs here, I'm going to highlight dogs. I'm going to right click on it, and I'm going to choose on the pop-up menu hyperlink. So click on hyperlink here. The text to display is dogs. It's going to go to a page called dogs.html. And then I click OK. The other way we can put links in is that we can use a keyboard shortcut. So I'm going to highlight the word rabbits, and I'm going to use Control, hold down the Control key and press K. The letter K on the keyboard with Control gives us insert hyperlink. And this time I'm going to put in a page called Rabbits and Guinea Pigs. Now, it's important that you don't put any punctuation or spaces into the names of your pages. So I'm going to use something called camel case here. I'm going to put rabbits, and then the word and then guinea pigs. So each word I've capitalized, but there's no spaces been put in here. And then .html is the correct type of page for it to be able to load up. I'm going to click on OK for that. It just says rabbits here, but rabbits and guinea pigs is the name of the page that we'll go to. And maybe I should put in there rabbits. Now to get an and sign, I have to put ampersand and then AMP. So the and sign itself starts with an and sign and then is AMP. Rabbits and guinea pigs. And if I click down into the main design section, then you can see that's come up there properly. So one last time showing you that there. So hamsters, I think the easiest way to do it is to right click on it, scroll down to the bottom to hyperlink, and then make sure the text is correct and put in an address, hamsters.html, and click OK. And I've now set up in my template page links to the main sections. Now you might not actually want to have blue text with an underline on your buttons here. So one of the things that you can do is to change the way an anchor tag displays. If I click on here for home, you'll see that inside the TD we've got an A tag with an href and a /A wrapped around the word home. So I can redefine what anchor tags look like, and I can go to new style, and I could specifically look at nav space A. So any anchor tag inside the navigation bar is going to be affected by that. I want the text decoration to be none so that it doesn't underline things. And I want the color to be something that will contrast maybe with these brown backgrounds. So I'm going to choose maybe something like this really dark green here. Click OK and apply. And so you can see now that my text is standing out, but it's maybe not obvious that that is an actual button. And what we'll do is, in a future tutorial, we'll look at how to make rollover buttons that are more obvious to the user as something that can be clicked. But in the meantime, I have my links on my page. If I go to File, Save All, and I'm going to just make sure it updates the style sheet there. And then I'm going to go File, Preview in Browser. Then here is my page. And if I try to go to the dogs page, that's a link, although the dogs page does not exist at the moment because I haven't actually saved the template into different pages. And that's something we'll do in a future lesson.